Dude, we're going to Mars.
Oh, hey.
Every time.
I didn't see you there. Bienvenidos a El Hoyo del Conejo, the rabbit hole. If you guys are first joining us on the rabbit hole, this is a talk show where we talk about sensitive topics, and we dig all the way down to the very bottom of the rabbit hole. And here we actually have a childhood friend of mine, and his story is one of the most
from La Jolla, Texas.
It's intense. It's intense, bro. And I never even knew it. I just found this story out yesterday. And I grew up next to you, and I had no idea. Okay, this is intense. So we have my buddy Richard, and he's a childhood friend. Pretty much we're primos. Like we grew
Basically
up next to each other. We like hung out, but I was just like the young primo. He was a little older. And like when I was in elementary school, you were already like in middle school. And I was probably like in third grade. You were already like getting into high school type thing.
Yes.
And so we didn't really hang out as much as we should, but our age difference was the reason for that. But we were like literal neighbors growing up in La Jolla, Texas.
La Jolla.
Now, this is let me preface this, okay? Let me make sure that our audience is warned that they're about to embark on a very sensitive story. And this is uncovering some hardcore pain and
I don't even know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, this is hardcore, bro. This is a hardcore story because I just found out about this
it's not gonna
last
make me
night.
cry, right?
It might make you cry.
Oh my god.
It might make you cry because when he told me this, I was like, bro, we gotta talk about that. We gotta talk about that, bro. This is heavy duty.
You're wearing glasses, but I know what your eyes are doing.
Dude, this is heavy duty, bro, because this man here, I've known him for years. I had no idea. I had no idea.
I don't share with many people because I don't want
any negative feedback to your family at all.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Me too. Even my family, my old friends. I'm not trying to hash up any old stuff.
Yeah, you're just discussing what happened.
That it's the truth kind of comes out and it's just told as it is. You know what I mean?
Well, let's get right into it.
Yeah.
Baby.
So this is intense, bro. Because check. I come, guys. If you know me, I come from a broken, dysfunctional home. My dad was abusive to my mom, and she divorced him when I was 3, and
then you got Silver Fox.
No, that Silver Fox is my dad.
No, you got the other dude too.
My stepdad is David, who was like a saint sent from the Almighty, and
David was awesome.
David, dude, that's my dad. He raised me since I was 4, right? And then, this man taught me how to dress. He taught me how to comb my hair. He taught me how to like actually line up my button-up shirts with my belt and my zipper and my inseam, like teaching a young boy how to be a man, okay? And if I had not had this man in my life, I don't know where I'd be.
Doing passe like Silver Fox.
Oh, for real, because my real dad was away at Penn State. Let's just call it that.
Yeah.
He was at Penn State for about 14 years during my childhood, and let's just say he didn't come out with a doctorate degree. So he was away getting educated.
Blood in, blood out.
And blood in, blood out style. And my dad was a product of that system. So when he came out, I was already like in my 20s doing comedy, and I started getting viral, like started doing tours, and my dad came out of the woodworks, and it was like that water boy scene. Hey, it's me, your daddy, Roberto. Right?
You can do it.
Yeah. Forget this school stuff. Let's go to the ESPN, right? And my dad came around, and I'm not talking smack about my dad. Okay, my dad, he taught me, like, my stepdad taught me how to be a kid into a young man. My dad taught me how to be a young man into a street smart, like pelao.
Selling them candles, baby.
Pelao. And
Slinging them candles.
yeah, and my dad was a bandido, bro. Okay, bandido. Like I understand what I'm made of inside, and it's like a struggle not to be my dad. That's like every day, if I can not be him as a person who he was as a husband and a father, I'm doing good, because my dad as a husband, bro, any wet hole that would offer itself to him, he's taking it down. Okay,
One-legged Peggy.
yeah, this dude had zero moral compass.
None.
Okay, zero,
None.
Oh, man.
He didn't care. He wanted to
Still his weed. He's still his son's weed.
yeah, bro, like
Damn,
hardcore, way. Like
bro.
and dude, it was a very volatile man.
Yeah.
Okay, very volatile. Did heavy drugs, and he died because of those drugs. Like he literally killed himself, drove himself to death with heroin and crack.
That's crazy.
Hardcore.
That's crazy.
Okay, that's my dysfunctional. That's where I come from, and I'm saying that so that I can make my friend Richard feel a little bit more comfortable sharing his story, because it comes from a same place of pain.
Yeah.
Now, many of you guys don't know this, but even though that my dad was not there, like my real dad was not growing up, I'm real thankful for my stepdad being there and shaping me as a young man, because without his guidance, man, I would be in a real dark spot. That being said, my dad coming into my life later, I was able to forgive him and able to have some actual relationship and love with my dad after he had done some of the most terrible things to my mom. And just like, it was one of the hardest things to be able to forgive somebody that has done that. You've seen them, beating up on your mom.
Yeah.
And like, not just like slapping, no, like beating up on a woman like she's a man, and you're trying to just decimate her, and she's a tiny woman.
Yeah.
And she's and this is my memory of my dad, but I was able to forgive him. My mom was able to forgive him. Everybody was able to forgive him, and that's what the moral of this story is that there's tragedy, and then there's forgiveness, and there's closure. Richard's story, it's hardcore, bro. Okay,
Well, let's get into it, bro.
I just wanted to make sure that everybody was
Man,
like,
this
hey,
is a massive intro, huh?
Everybody can catch your story at the comedy shows.
see, so Richard, when I was growing up, he had something terrible happen during his junior high, about to go into high school year. This is a pivotal moment in a young man's life.
I think I already know.
Richard, what happened at that moment?
So for most of my life,
And get real close to the mic.
so for most of my life, my dad and my mom and my dad got divorced when I was 3 years old, 4 years old. Same thing as you. But that's when we moved from St. Louis to the Valley. So I got to the Valley at about 3 or 4 years old when I landed at Grandma's house. So from that point on, my only father figure was my uncle, my mom's brother. And, he was getting his family started and whatever. So for the most part, he's basically like my older brother or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, my mom gets a job in McAllen. And so now we need to basically move to McAllen, because we've been commuting to McAllen. And so we moved to McAllen, and I go through, elementary school. I gained friends. We play football. We're like undefeated for years in a row. I mean, we go to each other's houses. We're hanging out. I got a core of friends, really good friends, good people. Their families, can't say nothing but amazing things about their families, growing up.
Yeah. But something's going to happen where these friends are just going to abandon you.
Pretty much. At one point, my dad and my aunt start talking, and my dad was a hairstylist. It started by grooming dogs. Ironically, he had a dog earlier.
Wow.
He started by grooming dogs, and then he learned how to cut human hair and transitioned. That was his next business. So my aunt and him get talking in there, and for you to be close to your family, because he was living in Houston, and I would only see him in the summers, me and my sister. He's supposed to move down and open up a business. And they're on 10th Street, right next to Green Beret. He opened up Narcissus, where beauty reigns.
And it was a
where is
salon.
this at? What was
McAllen.
it? McAllen, on 10th Street?
Mm-hmm.
What was it called?
Narcissus.
And
Bro, I've cut my hair there when I was a little kid.
dude, he was telling me that everybody would cut their hair.
Bro,
Everybody in the
my
valley
mom
was
would
trying to come there to get their hair cut.
They would take me there to cut my hair.
Dude, I'm serious. Check this out. This is nuts. This is
What?
crazy.
So he opens up the place, and it looks
And it's-
all Roman. It's
and it's-
beautiful.
and it's massively successful.
Yes, I remember.
Almost immediately successful. This is around the time Ann Richards is running for governor. So my mom and my aunt are really high politically involved in helping her win that thing.
Well, a lot of judges and lawyers would go there and get their haircuts because that's where my family is from. They do all the political stuff, and we would go there to get our haircuts because it was the place to go.
So I was in the back of the salon. You know, they have the wax to peel the hair off of people.
Yeah.
I'd go pour it on my skateboard on the bottom so I could go slide. You might have caught me at Baskin Robbins next door having 31 flavors.
Dude, I remember that. That's so crazy.
Everything was great, and now Dad was home. So
And he's doing good in business.
and doing good in business. And so the family, we're not a wealthy family. You know what I'm saying? So to have this, it was like God's blessing. Everything was starting to work. Well, all the parents started getting their hair cut, and they're like, Richard Striebel. Well, Richard Striebel, we know Richard Striebel. There's only one Richard Striebel in the whole freaking valley, and now there's another one. There's got to be his dad, whatever. Well, my dad he was just always himself. He didn't really care what people thought of him. He was who he was.
Did he have long hair?
At that time, he had sort of almost mullet kind of hair.
And then, so he's cutting hair.
He's cutting hair, successful, but all of a sudden, all the parents start realizing that this is a gay man,
Yeah.
and that's my father.
Yeah.
So then next
But
thing
he just had like mannerisms that were like feminine or what?
Bro,
yeah, well,
I remember
especially
who he's
when
talking about, bro, too.
especially when
Wow.
he's cutting hair. Do you see what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
now he's with a woman cutting her hair, and now he's talking to her. If you normally talk to him, you really wouldn't tell as much. And plus, I mean, you're a kid. You don't know the difference. I mean, a real flaming person at that point in those years, yes, you could tell. Somebody that really had the, two snaps and a twist. You know what I mean?
No, I gotta chime in here.
Yeah.
I gotta chime in here and say, mind you, I want you to understand where we're living at here. We're on the very, very southern border of Texas, right along the Mexican border, and I will confidently say that we are the most machismo, close-minded, like macho.
Más machos.
El más macho de los machos, sí, señor. Type of culture down here, backwards, like hardcore, like where we're very, very close-minded. What's going on in our neighborhood while this is going on with your dad?
Yeah, and so it was. There was only like one or two. This is later on knowing. There was only like one or two gay bars, and they were hidden, put away. PBDs, and on the.
How'd you know that so fast, bro?
I'm telling you, bro. I'm telling you, it's so. I know exactly who his dad is.
Wow.
So Amber's also like next to on Pepes on the River. It was the next bar next door, but that it was always packed. But none of us ever went there, and we were like, "Why is it so packed? And how come we never go there?" Well, it's because it was owned by a transvestite, like a big, big, big man that was a woman. That if you said something to him,
He fucking
She's gonna rip you.
So basically, when these people in my community found out that my dad was gay, I kind of got that like, well, we can't hang out, and it was kind of like you were.
Wait,
outcasted.
you're telling people that your friends and you like they're kind of like.
Back
or
then,
you
that
and
was
your
like
dad.
when HIV was like huge, right? So everybody thought every gay man had HIV or something.
And then I was gay, so now
Yeah.
it was like, are you gay too? And it was.
It's
I
in
had
your-
one of the
it's in your
hottest
blood.
chicks as
Yeah.
my girlfriend, and they were jealous, and it was like, what the hell's going on?
You're trying to overcompensate for your gayness by having a hot chick.
Right?
That's like the type of mentality that our culture has
That's
down
crazy.
here. Now, what? So, did he talk to you about these things?
Well, what happened is that he finally realized what was happening because now the business and things were changing. Like they changed so quick to begin with, and now they're changing again, and it has to do with social structure, with politics, with things of that nature.
Yeah.
Right? So he's like, I'm going to tell my son. And my mom got really pissed off. She really didn't want him to tell me, only for the simple fact that she was like, he doesn't need to know that yet, I guess, whatever, you know.
How old were you at the time?
6th, 7th grade, you know, like junior high.
13, 14 years old?
12, 13 years old.
How old are you now?
I am 45.
And so this is happening when you're 12, 13 years old, and your dad is going to have a discussion with you.
Yes.
What does he tell you?
So he basically tells me his story, like what happened to him in his life, and his parents owned a bar, and they were alcoholics. We've got that going for us, that, you know, all of us are alcoholics.
I think back then everybody's parents were alcoholics.
Right.
My family owned a liquor store. So
Yeah.
Absolutely. And so he was basically telling me that in his story, he was the youngest, so he wouldn't get looked after as much, or he would get pawned off to the daughter, you know, to his sister, you know, basically another
Oh, you
kid.
could take care of your little brother, type thing.
Take care of your little brother. Now you're talking about late at night. The kids are supposed to walk a couple blocks in St. Louis to go home from the bar to, you know, their dwelling, and, you know, he got picked up by these guys in a van and molested and abused, but then they nourished him and cared for him and loved him so much so, and he was
So they confused the shit out of him.
yeah, because he was from once again, I'm not talking shit about my family. I'm just saying,
This is what happened.
it was what happened is, you know, a lot of alcohol and things happening in their life, and so the kids were in many ways neglected, and now these people that raped and abused him, or, you know, molested him, now are like treating him better than his parents, or, you know,
Wow.
lifting him up.
And how, dude, when you told me that this happened, I was shocked, because he told you that he was about 8 or 9 years old when this happened.
Yes.
He was walking home, and he got picked up by a random white van with no windows, and he got kidnapped, and he went missing for how long?
I think he was missing, from what I understand, he was missing for at least a couple of weeks, like almost to the point where they thought he might be dead. You know, like he's not coming back.
Yeah.
That long. You know what I'm saying?
My goodness.
And then all of a sudden he was back, and I remember him telling me, it was like everybody loved him more, right, for like a hot minute, and then it went back to
Back to the way it was. Just forget about him.
Forgot about him anyway.
Forget about it.
So then my dad started being very like distant from most of his people, and ends up, you know, he's confused as well too. You know, doesn't know which way in life he is. Is he gay? Is he straight? Whatever. But he finds this beautiful woman that he falls in love with, which is my mother. You know, and they're like this dancing duo. You know, that everywhere they go to dance, like, everybody stops and watches. You know, you're at a hall and everybody's dancing, but when they would dance, like, everybody would stop and like, oh, you know, these two look like professional dancers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just an amazing
Saturday
couple.
Night Fever.
Yeah.
And so,
For real.
so he's got this beautiful wife. He's got a family going. How many kids does he have at the point when you find out that he's a gay man?
It ends up, when I was born, then my parents got a divorce. It was just me and my mom.
Okay.
His mom kept pushing him, like, you need to go back to your family. You need to, and was trying to get him to ignore that he was gay. Basically, like, say, you're not gay. Get over it. You know, go to your wife.
It's all in your head.
That happened.
Right? Go to your wife. And the reason my mom left him was because he was wanting to be like, let's go to the gay club today. It's cheaper drinks. But in reality, is so he could flirt and joke around.
Yeah.
And she was like, well, look, I can't live a life like that if we already have a child. You know what I mean? Like, we got to stay on the program over here. And basically, he was like, no, I choose this. So she leaves him. So my grandma forces him to come back, be with my mom, and they stay together.
Your grandma
for a little
is his mom?
His mom.
Okay.
And so my mom and my dad, they love each other. It's not like they don't love each other. So they sleep together again one more night, and that's how my sister was born.
Wow.
Because they never slept together before that and after that. You know what I'm saying? So they slept together one more time. So there was, in a way, it was kind of like, not to say accident, but it was not planned. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it happened. So now
he was just straight up gay. He was just straight up gay, or was he bi? Or
no, I think that ultimately that him trying to come back is when he realized, you know what,
He's lying to himself.
I'm lying to myself.
Yeah.
I'm gay. This is what I need to do. But I have beautiful kids, and I'm okay with that. You know.
So then,
Wow.
he has to tell you, because this means he's gonna leave the house.
Yeah. Well, he sees everything's happening. He sees that I'm coming home pissed off. Like, why am I being treated wrong? But I don't understand what's going on.
Because your friends are finding out indirectly through their moms who get their haircuts by your dad.
Yeah.
And they're finding out, ay, el Richard es bien florecita.
Yes, sir.
And they're going home and telling, oye, el papá de tu amigo es a little on the other side, and then but you hadn't even found out, and your friends are finding out before you do.
Absolutely.
That's crazy, bro.
So what happened from that?
So he tells me, and now I realize why everybody's being so standoffish, and I'm not like a part of my old crew per se. And I choose him. I say, I don't. He's like, I'm going to leave because I ruined your life. I came into your life after all these years trying to do right, and I didn't intend for this to happen, and this is what happened. I ruined your life. You and your mom and your sister had a good life going, and here I came and blew your world up. And I was like, no, actually, what you did do for me is you took the curtain down and showed me what really life is. You know, like, those people were liars. Those people didn't really love you. Those people didn't care about you. And in a minute, people will just turn their back on you. You know what I'm saying? Because real love is real love. You know what I mean? Real kinship, real friendships. You don't do that. You know what I'm saying?
So what ended up happening? Did your dad move out of the house?
He actually did, but the other reason he was leaving is because he did have AIDS. And he didn't want us to see him dying. So he took the opportunity that this situation had happened, and he was like, well, now is my exit, my way to get out of here.
Yeah.
But we had started to grow close because now I was like, hey, you know what? I want to see, where do you hang out? Who are your people? How is life on the gay side? You know, like,
yeah.
Not because I necessarily was, you know, yes, I went through a moment of wondering, well, does that mean I'm gay or whatever, right? But
yeah.
But I'm saying it was more just to be aware, like to learn, to know, you know. I started looking at people different. Like, you know, I used to say stuff like "pinche faggot" or this or that, and it changed my mind of how I treated anybody.
That'll make you grow up fast.
Yeah, like black, white.
I hope they don't
like,
ban me for that hate speech. We don't use that word around here, guys. We don't say that word because it's a hate speech, and I want to just go out before they ban me for saying that word on the live feed. We condemn that kind of word, and it's hate speech around here. So you're going to call
this
anybody...
This is an educational podcast?
Call them by their proper term, homosexuales.
Sorry.
No, it's all good.
No, you're good.
I don't want to get banned. You know what I'm saying?
You know how Zuckerberg is.
No, I know, I get it. But you know, to me at that time, that's how it was. That's
how it was.
That's how it was.
It's how it was, and it was the culture back then. Like that thing, that word was flying around
every day, bro.
more than planes.
That's why.
More than puro cowboys.
Yeah, bro. You drive by PBDs, and everybody be like, "Oh, that's your spot. Ha ha ha. You're gay. Ha, ha, ha,
exactly.
Ha. That's where you're gonna go hang out. Ha ha ha.
Mira, ahí está la happy hour. Ahí está la happy hour. So, dude. So, when did you find out that your dad had AIDS? Like, did he tell you straight up, or did you just see him like fading away and you asked, or what happened?
So he left, and what he did is when he took off, he gave us this little like time frame where he let the dust settle, right?
Yeah.
Like an hour, like a year and a half. I had called him once, you know, we talked. I called him for his birthday, you know, whatever, and then that's when he was like, "I'm sick, son. Like, you know, I don't know. So I want to be honest with you." And I was like, "Yeah, you know, like I said, we had grown close, so whatever happened made our friendship, our, you know, father and son bond happen. You know what I'm saying?
How old were you while he's fading away?
This is between 16 to 21.
And you're watching him just deteriorate.
Well, let me take that back. It was 17 to like 21. At 17, I find out but he doesn't die until I'm 21. You see what
Wow.
I'm saying? And in that process, I got a scholarship to play at Boise State in Idaho, right? Basketball.
What?
I'm on my way up to go relocate to play, go to college.
Yeah.
And I'm driving, and it's a long drive, right?
Good for you, by the way, bro. That's awesome.
And I stop at Colorado, to hang out with my dad.
Yeah.
And my friend's with me. Well, he's actually my brother, a young man that my mom and I adopted when he was in high school because we thought it sucked that he was in foster care. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is like adopted brother.
Yeah.
And
Best friend, adopted brother.
Man, you had a lot going on when you were a kid.
Yeah.
And so you're stopping. You're 21 years old, and you're stopping to go see your dad, or
Well,
how
I'm
old
not
are you?
21 at that time. I'm like 19.
Okay, and you're stopping in Colorado to see your dad with your adopted brother.
Yes.
And
And by the way, side note, he's black.
Okay.
So we're going north. And
That's crazy.
south and north, black people usually
Black and gay people.
get in trouble,
Yeah.
get pulled over. Mexicans get pulled over.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to get pulled over somewhere on this trip, so I'm like, hey, deja toda la mota, don't be fucking around, he was getting married to a high school friend of mine, and she lived in Idaho, but also would live down here.
Yeah.
And so he was like, well, let me ride with you. So we ride up and, hey, well, you get to meet my dad. And he's like, he knew the stories, you know what I'm saying? And he's el macho de más machos también, he's that kind of guy. We fierce competitors, you know what I'm saying? Whatever.
The black guy is.
The black guy.
Oh, okay.
His
Yeah.
name's Darren, by the way.
Darren, awesome.
And so we stop at my dad's place, and my dad's like, I was so happy to meet you. My son's talked about you, and I know you're a great friend. He's like, but I got to lay down some rules. Don't use my shaver. Don't do this.
Yeah.
Because I'm sick, right? He's like, but I'm going to cook dinner for y'all. So now my brother's like, what the fuck? Like,
You're sick, but you're going to cook me dinner?
Dad's got AIDS, but he's going to cook dinner for me. I don't like,
Bro.
It's just
It was so
what am I
crazy
gonna
back
do?
then, bro.
Yeah, no, and that's
so crazy, man.
His brother, like when he's telling me this story, I'm thinking the same thing you're thinking, right? I'm
Yeah.
thinking the same thing you're thinking.
Yeah.
Because somebody that has AIDS is
Gonna
about to cook you
me
dinner.
I'd be
you're-
like, I don't want to get spit in my food or something.
yeah, that's exactly what
But that's
Darren
just
was
How he
thinking.
cut his finger in it.
Yeah, what if you cut your finger or something? Yeah.
There's so many variables in that. You know what I mean? I'm not.
So how did that make you, like, what happened after that? Like,
So my dad comes out with a joint from Colorado at the time.
Oh
They-
man,
It
he
wasn't
got you.
legal,
With the,
but he had the hook up in the mountains, with
Yeah,
some
yeah,
good
yeah.
stuff. And he comes out with a joint, and he goes, I know y'all smoke, and I don't care. I smoke. I get it because of
Yeah,
being
yeah.
sick and having AIDS. It's okay for me to have it. And he goes, I just want to make sure you're okay, Darren. This is my gift to you. You don't have to smoke it now or whatever. But he's like, this is my gift to you. I just want you to, if you understand that, you'll understand everything's good. You know what I'm saying? In that way.
yeah. What?
So Darren was like, let me smoke that motherfucker.
that's too heavy. Like, it's
It
real
was
heavy.
too much for him. And now, mind you, Darren had a fucked up life too. His mom would leave him on the, like little balcony with the glass doors.
Yeah. What?
Would leave him outside with a bowl of water and slices of bread and be gone for 3 or 4 days. And him and his sister just there, in Dallas, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So he's gone through he saw his mom kill his dad in front of him. So he's gone through it también. You know what I'm saying? So we have like this real like common thing because we've been traumatized really hard in our lives, you know what I'm saying? And we were able to relate, And he's like, this is the craziest thing I've ever had to deal with, bro. Like, and I'm like, what are you talking about, bro? We've been through some crazier things. Like, no, but like surrealness because, we're young adults and we're talking about HIV, you know what I'm saying? And
What year was that?
this would have been 97 maybe 97.
That's when the world was coming out with that shit. Too.
Gee, dude. So what ended up happening, like, after that, like with your dad?
Well, I go to Boise State by the end of the season. So by the second semester, he's getting really bad. And I end up moving back home thinking I'm going to have to go take care of him. And then he's like, no, I'm great. I got another scholarship to the University of Texas at El Paso, UTEP, with Don Haskins. It was his last year. He was going to retire. I was like, Hall of Fame coach.
Yeah.
I go over there, and while I'm at practice, they're like, your family's on the phone. And I run over there, get on the phone, and all I could do is hear my dad breathing and that noise, like, beep, beep.
Oh, the EKG machine?
Yeah, and he's like just talking to me, but barely talking. And he's, basically saying he loves me and whatever, trying to tell him everything's okay. And beep, he dies
And you hear him, you hear him flatline on the phone, bro.
That's crazy, bro. That's
destroyed
tough.
me.
That's real tough.
What would you say was the hardest part of you growing up like that? And what would you say to the people that are new fathers that want to do it, like don't want to take their kids down this crazy path? Like, because this,
I think honestly,
has this affected you?
Oh, absolutely. It's affected me good and bad.
Okay.
It's affected me good because I don't see people the same way anymore.
So it's opened your mind.
It's opened my mind. I'm not, and I'll officially say it, a valley thinker.
Yeah, that's funny.
I will never understand that culture anymore.
Yeah,
for sure.
And you can tell me all day long that whatever, and that's fine.
because it's real like rancho, like it's
It's just, it doesn't make sense to me.
That mentality is real bad, man.
Do I love my hometown? Of course, and I want the best for it. Like I'm sick that La Jolla is still the same. Like I want La Jolla to be, a nice place, a nicer place. I'm proud of my town.
And what like if you became a father, what would you do different, and what would you do the same?
I want to say that honesty, like the way me and my mom bonded, the way you and your mom bonded growing up.
Yeah.
We were honest. We had to be honest with each other. So if I were to tell my son or my daughter, I don't like this, that doesn't mean I don't love you and don't want you to not do what makes you happy, but I don't like this for these reasons, and just so they would be aware why dad doesn't like that.
Yeah.
Not to tell them to choose because dad said, but more of like understand why. You know what I'm saying?
So that you would take more time into explaining things than your dad took with you.
Yes, at a younger age, and also I would spend more time with my kids. You know what I'm saying? My mom had to work every day.
Amen.
2 jobs, like.
So if
I never saw her, but at night, like trying to have dinner and have the longest conversation in 2 minutes. So before I had to go to bed, and she had to do it all over again, like.
Man, you've given us a big time story, Richard, and I appreciate you being upfront and honest about it, and sharing feelings about how you were feeling about that, because it's an intense.
I remember his dad, bro. His dad used to cut my hair.
His dad used to cut your hair?
Yeah, your dad cut my hair when I was like 8 or 9 years old, and my mom used to take me over there. It was like next to Shoney's stereo system place or something over there. Next to I remember Baskin Robbins being right there, because I would go get an ice cream afterwards, bro. And that's, if you don't believe God works in your life, there's a reason why Richard came into my life. And that's crazy, man. That is so crazy that your dad used to cut my hair.
Yeah, but
and he just disappeared he didn't say bye or anything like that. He just disappeared from the shop, and some other lady started cutting my hair at that same place until the place shut down completely. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the other thing, is that it was obviously
he was bringing a lot to that business.
His soul was the business.
His presence.
You once you take that heartbeat out, it's not going to succeed. And I've seen that in myself when I had my restaurant in San Antonio. As me being there, and I'm not saying this to be chocante, I'm just saying the work ethic that we put into what we do, and how much. Where's
your restaurant at, by the way?
It was in San Antonio on the west side of Commerce, just right outside of downtown.
Okay.
So without you there, it was not the same.
As soon as I left, the energy dropped. It wasn't the same, because you handle things a certain way. You're putting your.
You're more passionate about absolutely, and it rubs off on everybody.
Man, well, is there anything that you would like to tell our audience before we wrap this episode of The Rabbit Hole up?
Stop hating on one another for politics, for sexuality, for differences. The thing is, we're all different, and that's the beautiful part about it. We are in a country where this is supposed to be okay to be different, to express yourself, and to do things the way you want to do things. Now, be kind and nice to people, but do your thing, you know?
Awesome stuff, man. I appreciate you guys listening. I appreciate you joining us for this intense conversation. And I want to thank Richard for sharing it with us, because I know that as a man, it's not easy to share intense feelings and intense conversations.
To me, that makes you more of a man when you're able to show your feelings like that.
Dude, I have a hard time sharing personal stories myself. And so I applaud you big time, and I respect you big time for being able to do that. Guys, I will leave you with that, man. And that was The Rabbit Hole. God bless you guys. May the Father shine his face upon you guys. And
we'll see you again real soon, baby.
That was it, folks. Do with that what you will.
Woo!
Bye.
Aloha, chamos.